Hey Witchlets, it's Ambrosia, and today I'm here with my wife, Dices, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about wands. Now, first off, what is a wand? Simply put, it's a piece of wood, metal, or crystal that you use as a tool to aid you in your magic. Now, you don't have to use a wand. This is very important. I want to get this point across early. You don't have to use a wand in order to practice magic. It helps in some situations, but you don't have to have one. Now, how to source a wand. If it's a stick, don't take it from a living branch of a tree. Cull it from parts of the tree that are no longer receiving nutrients. You'll be helping the tree. That that branch is just sapping energy from that tree and it's taking away from it. Now, if you take from a branch that is dying and no longer helping the tree, you're helping the earth and you don't risk making anything upset. Now, most metal and crystal wands you'll buy naturally from shops and things like that, but you can also source them responsibly from the earth as well.
Yeah, because there are still spirits and entities that live in all things in the earth, and taking something that belongs to them in their mind or in their area where they live, you could risk potentially upsetting something more serious by taking something that they see as belonging to them without giving something back.
So if you're going to take metal or a crystal from the earth, consider leaving something in its place. It doesn't have to be anything intense. It could be something as simple as a quarter. Because while it doesn't have a lot of value to you and me, it's the give and take. You have shown I realize I'm taking something from you. I leave this for you. Now, crafting the wand. There are lots of different ways that you can go about that. If you're using a medium you can mold and adhere things to, consider what you want to use your wand for and how that'll work for how the things you put on it. How are those two things going to tie in together? For instance, putting purple on a wand you want to use for divination purposes. Purple naturally is always attributed to the spiritual elements of things, and it's very much a divination color. Now, there are different materials. Of course, we talked about wood, metal, crystals, but a wand can be as simple as you pointing your finger. It does have to do with the intention.
Or even, for example, I've used a candle as one.
Like, I don't suggest you go take a spoon from your drawer and use it because that spoon's probably not cleansed. But you could. Magic very much it has to do with intentions. Now, choosing a crystal for a wand can be a little tricky sometimes. Now, I know you're probably thinking, well, why would I choose a crystal for a wand? Because sometimes it helps. Crystals do different things, they can amplify them. You know, like she has a pecan wood wand and it has a clear quartz on it.
That part we can kind of bring forward.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it'll show it very well, but it is clear quartz, and it's wrapped in silver and gold metal.
Now, we're going to talk about three different types of wands, and with that, we're going to talk about three different types of woods, three different crystals, and things you can do to make that specific wand stronger for what you want to do. So, the first one we're going to talk about is a divination wand. And if you want to build it specifically for divination, willow wood will be great for this. Willow helps with psychic power, intuition, flexibility, and moon magic. And most often, moon work is attributed to the divine, but not always. And with your willow, if you want to put a crystal on it, a good crystal would be amethyst. Obviously, we talked about how purple is a spiritual color, and amethyst, as you might know, is purple. And that's because amethyst is really used for amplifying psychic powers. You know,
Um,
it's a little more common than you might think. You might not think that amethyst is something that you should use because, oh, anyone can get it, but it has a lot of meaning in the magic world.
and the thing is, just because a lot of people use it and it's what you would consider mainstream doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't work or that it's not an efficient thing to use for your goal. People use it because it works.
It's still potent and powerful, even if your neighbor down the street just loves the way it looks. Now, the next one we're going to talk about is a protection wand. Now, this is going to be a wand that you want to specifically use to draw protection spells for yourself or for others, or to do a protection circle around your house. It can be used in lots of different ways.
Yeah. Or even inversely, it can be used for banishing or potentially even hexing, depending on the manner in which you use it, what your goals and intentions are.
If your intention is to craft a wand for hexing, you will have to go in with that thought, though. Because if you craft a wand for protection and then try to use it for hexing, the energies might not work the same way that you need them to.
Yes. And the other way around, if you make it for hexing and try to use it for protection, you could end up making it ineffective or even backfiring on you because it's trying to fulfill its initial purpose.
Now, if you didn't watch my video about cursing and hexing, you really should. I have strong opinions on it, and I think everyone should do their research before they do anything with curses or hexes.
Yes. Because in her video, she explains how she feels about it. I personally believe that you should not justify it through yourself, but that you should really genuinely take the time to think about it first and make sure that what you're doing is not just because you're spiteful towards that person, but that they genuinely deserve whatever it is that you're going to curse them with. And that this is the hard rule of it. You do not talk to those people anymore. Like, I cannot stress that enough.
I said that in my video. If you're going to curse or hex somebody, they cannot be a part of your life anymore. But I digress. Now, a good protection wand would be oak. That might seem plain too, but oak is strong and hardy, and it has amazing attributes that include protection, courage, truth, strength, balance, and power. Oak trees grow huge and strong for hundreds of years, and there's reasons why that kind of wood would work excellent for a protection stone. Protection wand. A good stone for it would be black tourmaline. Now, you might not know much about black tourmaline, but that's okay. It's not exactly one of the ones your everyday Susan's gonna carry around like amethyst.
Although you shouldn't worry either, because it's not impossible to find.
Oh no.
Some of the more spiritual stores, places like Earthbound and a couple of others, they do
Your
have
eclectic shops.
Yeah, you'll still be able to find it at reasonable prices without going to extreme lengths.
Yeah. Black tourmaline is an excellent protection stone. It wards off negative energies and can create energetic boundaries. So if you want to have a protection wand that keeps spirits and energies from entering your house, using black tourmaline for that is going to create that boundary that you need. It'll make a very, very powerful protection wand. Using black wax or a pentagram or silver wire is only going to add to that protection. All three of those things are very much protective in nature. Something to consider also is using a bell.
Yeah, in a lot of cultures, using sound as a method of banishing or cleansing the air is very common, and it's, in my opinion, extremely effective.
You know, if you walk into Earthbound in the mall right now, one of the things they have up front is usually
Singing
a
bowls.
singing bowl. I personally don't like singing bowls. They give me headaches and they make my teeth hurt at the same time. And it's usually the people who are using them, I feel like. But it's something that has gone across different cultures. So if you want to put a bell or have a singing bowl after you've done the protection, it might help to just
Yes.
give it that final kick that it needs.
And you will want to go with something that has a higher pitch or hits a higher note, because
The
it
frequency.
achieves basically a higher vibration, and that's what you're looking for when you're trying to cleanse things.
Now, the last one we're going to talk about that's probably wood or stick is a general usage wand. Now, this is going to be one that you use for everyday stuff, for casting circles in your everyday rituals, for keeping on your altars to just cleanse with afterwards. Just your run of the mill. I use this for most things that aren't overly specific. And now, a good wood for that is pine. Pine is very versatile and it draws from all four of the elements. So it doesn't matter if you use predominantly fire or earth, water, air, pine draws from all four of those. It's going to work with all four of them. It works, it includes protection. You could use it for protection, but it works for healing, purification, and dispelling. And it's very versatile. And then for that one, a good quartz, well, a good stone is clear quartz. Clear quartz is your go-to buddy. It's strong. It has very powerful energy. It can absorb, store, release, and regulate energy. It wards off negativity and can be used in just about anything. Like,
one thing I feel like that is important to talk about that we haven't mentioned with stones yet is actually the shape of the stone that you're choosing is important to its usage. For example, on a lot of wands that are either already made or that you'll see, they're usually pointed, and the reason for that is because it directs the energy from what is behind it on the flat side through the point and out towards whatever it is.
Yeah. Most stones used in wands are rough stones. They're not polished. You know,
they're not going to have your rounded soft edges, and a lot of times you're not going to see rough ones that haven't been shaped in some way. Obviously you can use them, there's no problem with that. It's just looking into the type, style, and shape of it.
It'll be easier to point your magic and your intention with a rough stone. You know, you gather the magic from your arm, down your hand, through your wand, and with a point, it knows exactly where it's supposed to go. Now, this last thing we're going to talk about is selenite wands. And they're not a stick, they're crystals, and they come in two forms. There's raw selenite, which, disclosure, do not get selenite wet. If you get selenite wet, it will turn into jasper. And then there are polished selenite wands. And either work, they're both fine, but selenite is one of those that you don't put in the sunlight.
It's not. It's selenite for Selene. It is a moon-based stone. It is
Fig.
It's actually a very light stone. When you pick it up, it feels much lighter than it should, considering.
It looks heavy and like it should weigh about 5 pounds, but in reality, it's not.
It's very light. They're delicate and rather fragile, so you need to be careful not to put them in water and not to drop them.
Fig.
Because there is a good chance that they will break. But they're more moon-based. They're Fig just interrupted the whole video, huh?
Yeah. They're moon-based. They work excellently. I would suggest that if you pick selenite up from a store that you cleanse it, though.
Yes.
Use sage smoke or bury it in salt.
Both are fine. Neither of those will hurt it in any way.
No.
Just absolutely no water, no oils. It will turn to jasper, and I'm imagining if you're buying selenite, that's not what you were looking for.
Step it.
The best uses for selenite are healing and purification. They are very solidly for both of those things, healing and cleansing your aura or others. Obviously, I'm not going
taking away aches and pains.
Yes, like I'm not going to say it cures anything.
No, magic is not a cure-all.
But it works for those kinds of things. You can use it in those kinds of magics where you're trying to heal someone or trying to cleanse something. That is what they work best for.
Now, before we wrap up this video, I do want to talk about consecrating. Simply put, consecration is cleansing, but intensely cleansing something. Not everyone feels the need to do this.
And a lot of times it does have a more religious feel to it. Because, well, you don't have to be religious. You don't have to follow any deities to consecrate you things. A lot of times it's done as a ritual to make it ready to put on your altar.
It's very ritual in nature to consecrate items. And if you don't know how to consecrate something, we can do a video about that.
Yeah.
And
we can definitely do that.
If you would like to see a video about how to consecrate wands or anything, just leave us a comment and we can do a video about that. But like I said, not everyone feels the need to do that. Yeah. I simply cleansed my stones and crafted my wand together. I didn't feel the need to consecrate it, whereas she did.
I did, because they are tools used for very specific things. So, for example, the selenite wands, I did not feel the need to consecrate, both because they're already very pure energy on their own.
Because selenite doesn't hold negative energy.
Not really, but it can. If you're not careful with it, if you get it from like a store or something, you don't know who's picked it up. You don't know how many people have touched it and possibly had their negative energy just come off on it. And this one, however, I did, because this one is very specifically for spells and rituals, and it needed every part of it to be ready for that. It all needed to be cleansed thoroughly, but also the intention set for it, so that it was ready to do what I needed to do.
Just remember, anything you do isn't necessarily wrong. I mean,
no.
You practice magic how you want. There is no one set way to do magic. No. We're simply giving you advice and tools on how to make your magic more effective. But if it feels wrong to you, don't do it. Except for no water on your selenite.
That one is the one.
That is a wrong thing to do.
Yeah, like that one's wrong because
no
physics
selenite in water.
Said so, not because we did.
That's physics.
Yeah.
That's science.
Science said no.
So, if you have any questions or comments, drop a comment. Like, share, subscribe. We'll be back at you with another video in a couple of days.
Do you have your amino that you can put in the description where they can message you there or something? Or would that be something you could do?
I don't know.
Okay, well, we could probably find
I can look into putting my amino link onto my YouTube, and
that way
if I figure it out, you can look at my blogs. I blog about a lot of things, about deities, about crystals, I very much am into all of it, and you'll see lots of Fig. He likes being around.
He's our magic cat.
Fig, no. Alright, so thanks for watching, and if you got this far, leave a like, share, and subscribe.